This is the support presentation for the Year 9 Plymstock School Oral History project. The objective of this extended homework is to understand the importance of oral history as another tool for the understanding and exploration of history. The outcomes of this project are that students will know what oral history is, to understand its importance in helping us to understand the past, and to be able to plan and carry out their own oral history project, planning it, undertaking it, and reflecting upon how it's gone. The personal learning and thinking skill attached to this extended homework is the pelt of independent inquirer, showing that students can plan and carry out research, explore issues and events from different perspectives, and consider the beliefs and feelings of other people other than their own. So what is oral history? Well, oral history is spoken history. You will be conducting an interview and recording a person's unique memories and life stories. It's a personal history, and it is the history of ordinary people, unless you have access to some pretty exceptional people. This makes it very different from the history that you might see in film or that you might read about in books. So why should we use it? Well, it's a different perspective on the past. It will help you develop links with older generations. We are encouraging you to interview someone from an older generation than yourself, which will bring a family or potentially a community closer together and bring the history that other people have experienced to life. It adds a human element to the study of history and concentrates on the individual experiences. We can find out about different people's opinions and feelings about events in the past. So what do you have to do? Well, your task is to plan, conduct and evaluate an oral history interview. And there are 3 parts to this task, all of which will need to be submitted to your teacher on the deadline set for this extended homework. Firstly, you will be expected to plan your interview. No decent interviewer approaches a topic or an interview with an individual without undertaking preparation. To this end, you are expected to download, print off and complete the OH1 planning grid. Secondly, you will conduct the interview and present the interview in some kind of final form. Now, this could be a PowerPoint, it could be a Prezi presentation, a Comic Life, Extra Normal or Movie Maker presentation, if you wish to do your interview final piece on computers. It alternatively could be a poster or a booklet. Now, if you require any more guidance on how to use any of these packages that are listed here, like Prezi, Comic Life, Extra Normal or Movie Maker, please go to the ICT link available on the website where you're watching this film. There will be guidance and tutorials for these particular websites. If you wish to present your interview in any other format, please discuss that with your teacher. This will also need to be submitted on the deadline. And finally, your ability to evaluate your interview. For that, you will need to complete the OH2 evaluation sheet, which you can download from this website. So therefore, to remind you, you will be handing in OH1 and OH2 as well as your final presentation of your interview. So, how do you start? Well, you have 2 ways in which you can approach this. Firstly, you might have a particular topic of something that happened in your parents', grandparents or great-grandparents' lifetime that you would like to ask them about and find out more about from their perspective as someone who lived through it or as a witness to it. Alternatively, you might even know someone who you already know has a unique experience or a unique story to tell. So you can either start with the person or the event. Once you pick someone to interview, it's right for you and time for you to make a start. Please make sure that they are aware of the topic that you are interviewing them on. Do not presume just because someone was alive that they would have known what was going on that particular event. They may not have been in the country, they may not have even been interested. And on 1 or 2 occasions, they may even have been far, far too young. Once you know what you're going to do, you have to be professional and plan. You will have to undertake some background research. Do some background research on the topic that you are investigating. Start with the basics. The who, the why, the where, the what, the when and the how. Once you've worked out your questions, try to write the questions in a way that will encourage your interviewee to expand and explain their ideas. You should aim to ask at least 15 questions in the interview. And there are 3 different types of questions that we would like you to carry out. And when you do these questions, think about what we have talked to you in class about the hierarchy of questioning, from the basic to the more advanced questions, from simple recall to encouraging your interviewer to speculate. This hierarchy is something you build into your interview. So you encourage your interviewee to talk with simple recall. And once they get in the flow of answering questions, you increase the complexity of the question, teasing out of them information that you wouldn't otherwise get if you did the questions the other way around. So the first type of questions are simple, memory questions, comprehension and recall. These should be simple questions to put your interviewee at ease. Get them start remembering about the past. So let's put them in context. How old were you when this particular event took place that you wish to find out about? Where were you living? What sort of work were you doing when the event took place? These are all examples of memory questions. Now, they're not going to be applicable to every person's interview depending on what you're talking to them about. But it gives you an idea of the lowest level of questions that you can ask, the memory questions. Developing on from these are the explanation questions, encouraging your interviewee to explain why they think things happened, and maybe how they link to other events. So what caused the event? Why do you think it happened? What happened afterward? Can you describe these events in just one word? How do they compare to other events at the time? Who was involved? Why were they involved? And what did you think would happen? So if you note the difference between the memory and the explanation, this requires the interviewee to expand with opinion and speculation. So it's higher order questioning. Then finally, try and tease out of them some judgments. Their opinion in this interview matters. This is why it's so much different from interviews that you see carried out on television or in books by experts. The ordinary person that you are interviewing this time is the expert, and their opinion matters. Now, these questions get them to talk about the big picture. Get them to make a judgment, a decision, an opinion. Was it good or bad, this event that you're interviewing them about? What do you remember most about the time? What was your funniest, happiest, saddest memory? What action would you change if you had the chance to relive those years again? What mistakes do you think that people made during this period? What do you think that people could learn from about this part of history? Again, they're examples of questions. They won't lend themselves to every interview that you as students are going to be carrying out. If you're still stuck for ideas on who to interview, how to interview, or the way in which you wish to present your final piece of work, please log on to the school website and from there log on to the school shared area. If you go to the Year 9 file on history, look at the oral history file, and within that there is an archive file where we have archived some of the best examples of students' work from the past. Alternatively, this can be done by students in school by logging directly onto the shared area. If they have any more questions, please do not hesitate to contact or meet and arrange to talk things through with your teacher. We look forward to seeing what you can produce in this unique opportunity to write unique history.